Welcome back to the Leading Detection podcast. And today we're joined by Hua, who is working at TikTok in payment risks. And we're going to dive into a super interesting topic. Today we're going to be talking about large transaction modeling. Hua, welcome.
Hey, Matt, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. A very interesting topic. A lot of people are talking about it. Not many people are doing it. In theory, people are thinking about it, but you've had the chance to explore a little bit. So we're going to be looking forward to tapping into that experience and some of those lessons in the space. So to start off, set a bit of context. Rules were the traditional way. We're trying to push towards models. So if you tell us why that is and why fraud systems won't be going fully ML anytime soon.
Yeah, so for us, we still combine the model and the rules. Someone want to say, hey, why not kick off all the rules, right? So,
Yeah.
but rule actually, it's kind of a simple of the model, right? So the good thing about the rule is that they more like easy to explainable sometimes,
Yeah.
and also they are quick. We observe occasionally like the model runs for a while and then the new fraud pattern comes
Yeah.
and the model score can capture quickly about those new evolving patterns. And
Yeah.
at that time, I think so we can push the model training to like 2 months, 2 weeks, even sometimes like 2 days, but still I think a rule is much quicker than the models. And then once we identify the good patterns, and the rule can immediately stop bleeding. And also sometimes it's better to explanation to the leadership team and also to the customers as well. So that's the reason in some corner case, we're still using the rules to mitigate.
So rules are the foundation, they're the base, they're not going anywhere. They're always going to be there. When you say about the length of time for models, it's coming down, right? From months to weeks, days. Is it possible to be shortened even further to close or near real time?
Yeah, so the near real time, maybe we call it like a reinforced learning or stuff, right? But we not that advanced yet. So we try to do the daily refresh for the model parameter. I mean, keep the model structure, but using the everyday data to feed. But however, that also caused some problems because the same customer yesterday they can get approved, but the next day because something happened, they
Yeah.
being triggered, and it's caused some negative side as well.
Mm.
So after that, like we try to retain the model stability at least like for a week or for a month. We think the trade-off between push to daily may not be the best solution yet.
So operationally, it's not worth it. Cost.
Cost is okay. Because retrain the model sometimes you do not need to use the fully data set, right? You just use the incremental data set to train to fine tune the parameters.
Are there any other trade-offs? So you mentioned about
Mm,
operation costs. Anything else that we need to consider instead of just
mm.
going all out and saying models for everything?
Yeah. So and also like some of the basic policy, right? So because the decision system is kind of mixed of a lot of factors to take. Um, some, for example, some velocity rules or policy rules, right? So it's not necessary to integrate it into the models. For example, if your business line or your product line, you're selling every cost you allow, like for example, $10,000. You just set the threshold there, or like your shopping cart, you allow the customer to like maximally buy like 5 items or 10 items. You just set the rule those things. But that's actually and those baseline stuff like could be very quick efficiency and make the decision very fast in the first layer or different layers, right? So it's kind of combines all about the trade-off between both.
Yeah. I mean, and that's probably what 95% of cases
Mm,
could be solved with the
mm.
rules. But that remaining 5%, that's getting the
Yeah,
attacks more sophisticated. There's more features.
yeah. Or
I mean,
we call it deep learning, right? So it takes more time,
yeah,
but check more sophisticated signals.
yeah. So
Yeah, I wouldn't say 9 and 9. So usually like rule like take care of like 20, 30, and then the model will take the like 50 and left of that. And also we have like later on combine the signal together and do the optimization.
Yeah. So there's a lot more signals in fraud detection, right? So how are we managing them?
Yeah, the signal is hard because that's actually the most useful secret sauce in the decision engine. Right? So how many signal is decided how smart or intelligent of your decision system. So we use I think more than 10,000 like signal or features in our decision.
10,000?
Yeah, 10,000 I think.
So with all those signals, how are you making sense out of that? It's a lot of noise. Right?
Yes, it's kind of tricky. Like so each individual developer they can't remember all those 10,000, right? So yeah, so we also not feasible for people to, but they are like categorized, and sometimes like we can use the deep learning technology to generate derivative what we call derived or derivative feature signals as well. So even though they have like 10,000, but actually they are not like most of them they like spread and derived from the key like or like raw features itself. So, for example, like the basic information like IP address, like shipping address, etc. Things.
Why is it important that the amount of signals is increasing when it comes to the area that we're in, particularly in fraud?
Because all the signal is about describe the behavior, right? So how differentiate from good user, bad user, right? So it's kind of a think about you describe and what difference between and cat and dog, right?
Yeah.
It's a very traditional like deep learning they try to solve, right? So in the beginning, people use like human expert like extract the things, but later on they put the more deep layer of the what's it called a more layer like neural network, right? So then they can describe the feature itself. So the magic happens like all about like how many of the signals or things you describe each
Yeah.
object, and then later on you have better discrimination powers. So yeah, so that things I think it's kind of another way we people think about might be overfitting stuff, those things, right? But I think and overfitting when you have enough sample size, overfitting won't be a problem anymore.
No.
In the beginning, like people always say overfitting, but later on they figure out when once you have a really large data sample size. For example, when your sample size reach million, and they will fundamentally change the behavior of those data. For us, actually, we have a million of transactions every day.
Yeah.
So actually, our data is huge. So we are not worried about the overfitting stuff or about the how you train. And yeah, to us, I think to be honest, I don't think 10,000 is too much. It's not. All about like how you manage that or not, or you can remember that or not. So that's
Yeah.
also another challenge for us, like because the team, right? So people come and go, right? So how we can transfer the knowledge like between people, people. It's really a challenge. That's reason like why we need help from AI or like large language model.
Yeah. So do you think there could be their own subset of large language models, but when we language, it'd be transactions? And is that a direction that we're going in? Will that be widespread?
I think so. That's for sure is the direction, and also that's also like 10,000 signals, right? So once why we are not sometimes we are not use that one by one. So for example, we train the different models in different scenario. For example, new user you might have a different model, right? So ATO you might have a different model. So those things and they can combine usually like thousands of the signals into one model score, right? And then you use that actually behind that as a log signal. So model actually is the one way to help you consolidate the a lot of features. And but ongoing maybe like Gen AI those stuff, so they can leverage more features, or they can like generate the intern signals
Yeah.
within the model itself. You do not need like manage them individually. So and then could be help you capture more signals. For example, like people, if you look at horizontally, right? So the feature is that you just like multiple each other like those things, right? But however, if you look at the time series, right? So the future will explore like how this thing happened before that or after that
Yeah.
behavior, those things, right? So yeah, I think ongoing more signal that definitely will help better you differentiate things. Yeah,
Is it better than humans at the moment? Is it better than humans at detecting?
it is. It is.
Yeah.
Traditionally, we do rely a lot on the like what called case study or
Yeah.
like fraud case study, right? So when the fraud happened, we look the case. Hey, what happened? And um, why how they communicate fraud, right? So and we usually do that on the operation team, and they look at the case and look at it that the shipping address different from the billing address, and that the device ID is changed, those things. But those things right now is getting harder and harder. So if you right now we usually look at the case, even we sit together look at the case. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate why. So
Yeah.
they can the fraudster can age account like for more than a couple months. Sometimes they are very patient, and then they accumulate the good history. Suddenly they do some bad thing. So even how, yeah, does this a friendly fraud or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
But so that's also the reason sometimes we're using the heuristic model. Those things, a lot of cases have been categorized as like friendly process. But machines sometimes they can do like amazing, like what beyond what you can. For example, the graph models. Sometimes they can link, but if you human, you can't exhaust all those things. So and also recently we explored the what we call sequential model behavior, those things, and they can if you look at single point individually they all looks good, but if you link all them together like normal user and the fraudster, they can differentiate. I think definitely model is ongoing long run, maybe not long run, right now is already passing the human, but the how combine each other. So we try to let the previously the model is hard, right? So they're mixed. But right now, giving the LLM, we will try to let the large language model summarize why they think this one is different from that one. So, and then give us some hint, like, and then we can check specifically among those like 10,000 of the signals, why they can tell the difference.
Yeah. Is there anything to be cautious of? Have you seen the models hallucinating or going off on the wrong track?
Yeah, that's actually also a little bit harder, right? So sometimes we have a case like okay, the guy I mentioned like as a our like internal employee has been declined by the models because he can do transaction good yesterday and today suddenly they are being declined. That's one I called earlier. How frequently you refresh your model, how stability of the model, right? So they pick up some signals. For example, they use VPN sometimes, and sometimes small signals they pick and too sensitive, like maybe like we call overfitting those things, and they can still cause some like frictions. That's actually, and then it's hard to explain to the people. We can't tell you, okay, your model score is higher today than yesterday, so you're being declined, right? So explanation is always be a point you have to
Do you think it could ever be kind of introduced into culture that the models are so good at detecting fraud? They give us a score. They don't tell us why, but we just accept it because we have trust in the models.
to be honest, we can convince ourselves, but you can't convince your customers. Like non-risk domain people is very hard. People think like people always think they are good. So why? And their expectation, your decision should be 100% accurate. But actually, it's very very hard, right? So we know that in the beginning we can't commit like 100% accuracy decisions.
And I think the models are held to a higher bar, right, than humans for because
Uh,
there's less forgiveness, I guess. Would you agree with that?
yeah, definitely, I agree. If you look at the statistical point, right? So the model definitely than human in most of the case.
Yeah. And running kind of generative AI decisions, transaction monitoring, it's super expensive though, right? Is it
Yes.
is it do the economics work out right now? Is it worth it?
Yeah, that's actually really challenge, right? So as of right now, I think it's still expensive. But if you looking back, like what we call like 20 years ago, those things, right?
Yeah.
So the decision engine itself is also not cheap, especially you query the outside data source vendor things, right? So you need pay
Yeah.
every query those things. And now it's getting cheap and cheap. And generative AI, they leverage like not 10,000, they leverage a million and billion,
Yeah.
right? So most models, small model they call 10 billion, like a large model they call like 100 billion, right? Those things. So
Mm.
each calculation they leverage those so many parameters. Even though they said like instance reference is much cheaper than training, right? So for sure.
Mm.
But however, still, I think most of the generative AI, the token wise they generate like by the second. And
Mm.
think about our current decision engine, we usually only allow like 100 milliseconds or like so. So still, I think the speed is one way, but the calculation definitely much intense than the traditional decision engine. So
Mm.
it's we didn't calculate the cost yet. We
Yeah.
this year we try to compare like apple to apple, see what's but but as of right now, I think most user case we will leverage that. One is about speed, so
Mm.
we do like a what we call like a post auth kind of scenarios can use this, which is a um after the decision. So what we call after the transaction, we do another layer of check, right? So
Yeah.
similar to pending review those things, and we
Mhm.
can leverage try to use those. But the but still, I think the cost is the more but that's actually as of today, right? So we 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 for sure ongoing like 5 years later or 10 years later, this cost will be much cheap. I think at CES, the Jensen Huang just also mentioned that they will put like more like those stuff like name thresholds on the make the calculation like much cheaper and much faster things.
Yeah. So the price is coming down, but at the moment it's just not sustainable.
Not right now, yeah, but ongoing, I'm very optimistic they will be reaching some point that they can
Yeah.
leverage. Yeah.
What about, because obviously these are training. It's the training that's costing
Mm.
which is the biggest cost. But when we talk
Mm.
about the public LLMs and foundational models,
Mm.
what are these getting better? Will we ever be able to use these to kind of understand fraud? What are the limits here?
For that part, we are still exploring, right? So the large language model they are good at the learning by themselves. So you
Mhm.
give them not too many cases, and they will can like iterate, learn and learn the useful information from itself. But how to organize the case structured or non-structured or like a raw feature or
Mm.
engineered features, we are still kind of keep exploring. But one good thing that at least it can take more signal or things in raw format than the traditional model.
Mm.
Because traditional model you need like what we call like a structured like a matrix, right? So you should and e- even some most of the traditional models you need transfer from like say to pseudo numeric stuff, right? So the different like for example address you have to translate to the digital
Yeah.
so you have to present them the number, but large language model they break this barrier. So
Yeah.
we try to feed those things in the model training and see what happened there. So at least they provided the capability there, but how much the lifting, the performance lifting, that's actually we try to measure on to like with for example why it can be better than the traditional model we are doing. So we try to a lot of people propose okay this scenario we can use and that scenario we can use, but more about the question, hey, why it can get to the performance lifting. That's actually we try to measure for each scenario.
So for each, so yeah, have you got an example?
For example, like so for example, we do the the large language model to check in the pending review queue, right?
Mm.
In the pending review queue, and then we have a 3 decision can make. One is that we can ask a group of operation guy, or we call vendor or BPO, to check that, and they use their traditional way. They search if this address as a legitimate on the Google Map. They check the registration. It's like those use their traditional way to make the judgment. Okay, this transaction is legitimate or not. Another is about the traditional the machine learning models we developed, and we split the traffic not half, right? So we usually, because the machine can run much faster than human, so we do the human decision first, machine decision first, and then the human decision later, and we can compare. But at that point, we already saw the machine usually better than the human manager. And now we introduce like large language model here. So now we have a 3, you can think like 3 different decisions can come out from there. And we will compare, we are trying to compare that the large language model would be better decision than the machine or better than the human. So that's what we call. And good thing that for the pending review queue, like the time tolerance is very uh, high, right? So you can take second or maybe within an hour, those things. And
Yeah.
then we try to see what's the performance rating. And more important, we try to understand why large language model can be make better decision, better than the traditional model and better than the human. So that's actually we are still exploring right now.
We mentioned speed a few times and
Mm.
real time
Mm.
monitoring. Do we actually need real time, or do we need better features? Where do you sit there?
Yeah, personally, this is my personal opinion. I think eventually might can replace everything, the large language model. Why? Because it's still, I think, about the human limitation. We can't leverage much enough signals, right? So the they have no limitation, and also after the cost driven down, it's much easier, and then they can consume the more patterns. Someday they can find the fraud pattern by themselves. So in the long run, I believe they might be replace a lot of human works, but not happen yet. So this I think for the for us in this industry, we just want to treat it as a tool right now, another new tools right now, and to leverage it in as many as possible, and try to as I said, try to understand why they are better than the traditional ones things. But yeah, so that's we can't predict the long term future, right? So we just want everyone to try to use that and to leverage that to help you at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll stay in a job, but I think the interesting thing is an arms race, right? Because the fraudsters are using AI and we're trying to fight back with AI, but we've got a bit more friction to to how we use the regulations and whatnot. But if we're talking about the future and laying a bit of foundation for next generation fraud models, what would you predict would be the kind of backbone for the next generation of models?
Yeah. So I think as of right now, I think I know the industry we still using the like XGBoost models also in a lot, and the time sequence model. So I think this barrier for those kind of traditional model be lower and lower. I think in the next couple years still be the model driven, combine some rules, but when next generation make the fully transition, I can't make a prediction, but I think they might be quickly maybe just like switch to like the large language model. So I think as of right now, I do not see necessary to any intermediate. So I would say from right now the traditional all stacked model to the large language model, maybe that's the backbone. So, but when it happened, I can't predict. Maybe like 2-3 years, or maybe even faster. So I would say it's as sitting today. So LLM definitely the next generation. I would say.
Yeah. Have we got the clean data, the infrastructure? Are we in a good enough position for this to scale, or have we still got to do the basic work first?
Yeah. So about the data, right? So right now, most of the companies they use big data infra, right? So a lot of non-structured like put on the JSON block like stuff, and even like some more unstructured like data lake, those stuff. I think most of companies saving that for us like at least 3 years, 5 years. So the data, it's like people are about like model is not the key, like data is the key, those kind of things. But the how consume the data actually is really much more challenging for the human. We usually spend like couple not months, like couple weeks to clean the data to prepare for the. So most of the, I think the guy in this industry know that most of the time you are doing is clean the data. Like because the train the model, it's quick, and the structure is already there, right? So the thing that most lag of the model iteration, like model things, is about the how you can prepare clean the data to feed into. But we try to explore like for the large language model, can we like just be lazy, like feeding whatever we have, right? Not structured, like with some missing those things into the model, let them learn. So it's kind of a thing we try to we explore. So I won't say that data is a like is a anything for the large language model. So data is not a problem because we have enough data. For the traditional model, the gap is that you need to clean it, but then we try to feed them without any preparation things. But of course, those data are the domain knowledge, right? So all those is all what we collect is about this transaction. So they are not like some non-relative stuff, right? So that's actually the good part. All the information is there. They should be relative to this. So how all about how you consume them, how you dig the feature from them.
Yeah, fascinating. So it's been an absolute pleasure, I must say.
Uh-huh.
You've given us a good insight, and I can't let
Uh.
you go without kind of, as a practitioner, someone who's got a lot of experience. What are the kind of open questions that are still unanswered when it comes to using AI for fraud prevention?
I think it is down to the I would say couple. So I think that for us, still the most challenging part is about the we do not have the God's view. So one transaction we are using in front of the screen, right? So and behind that, what actually happened is a good user or bad user, or the this is like a true fraud or friendly fraud. So it's kind of a God's view we lacking, which means you lack of the uh, ground truth sometimes. It's especially like some right now it's some of the fraud they won't report, right? So the thing we do have a strong signal as like feedback to us, right? We call supervised learning, but actually the signal itself is not super clean. The report could be a friendly fraud, not report not necessarily the good thing. So that things it's still unsolved. We do not see like a very golden line. Okay, 100% trust the model or human, even human. Like just like, okay, you tell me this like only like internal employee might be like assumption, but yeah. So the ground truth we still lacking, and this prevent us to measure the performance of different decisions because we want build the good measurement. So I think measurement is the key to see how you judge this decision better than other. So how we build a really good measurement system is the key. We try to explore like within the building the example we call like what we call block or like bad example with a good example together, and even also some already declined we don't know the result, those things we call derived those things together. So build a good measurement is a very challenge. We do not have we try different way, but we are not like okay, this is the best way we should build. So
Yeah.
we try to close to that kind of I think. But yeah, so summaries, I think building a really good measurement and the feedback is the really very answer the question, and also a very challenging question.
Okay. Well, maybe we can come back in later in the year and we can see how far we've got.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people talking about. I think I not only the risk area. I saw like
Mhm.
other like e-commerce or something. People are talking about like 2025, everyone is observing there. 2026, I think everyone is jumping to really uh, uh, like put the toe in the water, like try to really utilize that. Actually, I'm very excited about the 2026. We also like most of them are plan uh, in each area and for each team. We are trying to leverage. I believe by uh, end of the year, we will should have some very more interesting findings there.
Yeah, I love your passion for the year already. I mean, we're a couple of days in, and you're excited about what's to come. Anything else you're excited for this year?
This year, for specifically for us, we split, right? So in US, actually, we have independent entities.
Yeah,
Uh, might not relate to the topic, but we are very busy to prepare and because it might help us getting more officially legitimate in the US, so we
yeah.
can explore more areas and more products. And we try to push more on the fintech and also side in the US.
Okay, interesting. Well, looking forward to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll have to catch up later again in the year and see how it's all gone. But
Okay.
Hua, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.